I thought that I'd recover and I wouldn't get in trouble anymore. So as I turned into an adult, I became just as involved again. But just to make a long story short, I ended up spending 18 years of my life in the criminal justice system. When I was 23 years old, I loved gel tattoos. If I strip this off, I have tattoos everywhere. And I had two associates. We paid a guy that was an inmate as well to give us tattoos. It was three of us, and we gave him some heroin. Officer smoked some heroin, and he preferred to get paid with heroin. And so we gave the inmate the heroin, and he inked us up. I was third. And I remember maybe 6 or 7 months later, two of my friends, they were positive. And so I'm thinking, oh shit, right? Like, you done got fucked by 2,000 dicks. That's a true number, right? This is what I'm thinking. Like, I've been smutting myself out the whole time I was in prison. And I'm thinking, oh shit, So time goes by, I get tested. I'm negative. I'm like, whoo! Maybe like 7 months later, I'm playing handball outside. Up against the wall, and I start seeing black spots. Like my vision was like just not correct. So I sat down on the bench. I'm like, I got tested and everything. And this is 2000, year 2000. I'm thinking, wow. So I go back. I say, listen, I think I need another one. Because the first thing I wanted to do was, I wanted to take care of myself. That's the first thing I thought about. So I went and got tested. They asked me why. I told them, I said, well, I've been up here, so-and-so amount of time ago, and I want to get another test. Well, we understand. So I got the test. And the day before Thanksgiving, in 2020, they called me up to medical. And it was the psychiatrist there. It was a member of the clergy. It was my counselor, Mr. Winstead. Your suspicion was correct. You're positive. Right? I'm like, I'm positive? So I snapped. They had plants hanging from the ceiling. I'm running through there, just knocking the plants off the ceiling. They had to tackle me, drag me into the SHU until I calmed down. The SHU is special housing, where they separate you from everybody because you're a threat to either somebody else or yourself. So I'm in the cell and I'm processing this. And I'm like, I'm cursed. I knew better. I knew this. And for some weird reason, I found some comfort in knowing that I didn't get it from sex, right? I'm like, okay, it didn't come from that. Like, I was trying to rationalize all of these things. But as years went by, I had to see a psychotherapist, and I had what you would call a sonographia, which is a medical term for being in denial. And because I was not sick, I was in denial. I felt that I was young, I was invincible, I was powerful, I was beautiful. Like, this just cannot happen. So for numerous years, I was in this denial. And I would still go to the doctor, and I would get lab work, and they would say, oh, your viral load is 10,000. Your CD4 count is 600. And it just kept changing. It just kept getting lower and lower and lower. And I finally went back, and, I had my psychotherapist there with my practitioner in prison, and they said, like, this is for real. Like, I know you don't believe it, but you're going to have to deal with it. I was like, okay. But I was lying to myself, and I was lying to them, and I never really dealt with it. As time progressed, I was eventually released. I came home in 2015, and by this time, I was kind of like partially taking medicine, but I was like, for what? I never was sick. I never felt sick. So 2015, I came home, and I realized that at this stage in my life that I needed to do something that was transformative. I've always been a bookworm. I loved education, and I've always, felt that education was the great equalizer, right? It levels you out with everybody. And so I began to commit myself to education. I enrolled at Essex County College in January 2016. And from January 2016 until January of 2021, I was able to get my associates in social science. And you're making me blush. And then I got my bachelor's and my master's. Yeah. And so